Alright, let's solve the small mystery. You say that Mr. Gustavi and Mr. Dover did not collaborate during the finals. That's strange. No comment. Delicia testified that Dover sherbet was most delicious. Yeah? So what? Being a novice chef. I mean, when did we establish that he's a novice chef? Yeah, that kind of makes sense, but I don't know, it didn't seem like to me the fact that he was a novice chef was established as anything more than conjecture. Because in my head, you know, these are still people who have some baking ability. So, like, or, you know, like, sherbet? Really? Did he have to home make that sherbet? I assume he was, like, supplied with sherbet. And then he just sculpted the sherbet. You know, maybe that's my... And it's not difficult to make sherbet. I get what happened. I think that was kind of weak, though. I get why this is an objection. I don't know if I approve of it. I doubt he could have done all that by himself. Perhaps the two of them cooperated during the finals as well. And this would be really easy to shoot down. Montgomery would just be like, no, turns out he was good at making sherbet and nothing else, that's it.
Defense attorney, how many times do I have to tell you? Delicia's subjective opinion cannot be admitted as evidence.
Well, that is 100% true.
There's still a chance that a novice chef could make something tasty.
There's also a chance that it was delicious to her, and it's melted now, so there's no way we can prove it. It might have tasted like crap to somebody else. He's 100% right. It is a subjective opinion. That doesn't work as evidence.
My wife is an amateur.
I guess being married would make sense. Just never thought about it.
My wife is an amateur, yet her cooking rivals out of world-class chefs.
How is that not a subjective opinion? Again, there's that weird kind of smug face. And, yes, it's... Okay, it's a subjective opinion, but that only proves his point. You know, he finds his wife's cooking to be wonderful, rivaling world-class chefs. I like to imagine he's not at all, like, angry and grumpy around his wife. He's just kind of like a nervous little... He completely changes attitude. She's the one who wears the pants in the family. That'd be hilarious to me. But, yeah, that only proves his point. It's like, if you don't buy that, you know, it's an amateur, but she's really good at cooking. Like, okay, it's still subjective. You don't believe that until you've tried it yourself. She claimed, the dessert was really good, but there was a part that was salty. It's like, okay, but at the same time, we can't use this as evidence, per se. And I'm actually really impressed. The game normally doesn't allow that's a subjective opinion, that's not evidence. Looking at you, first 3 Phoenix Wright games.
Moreover, even if you did take the pharmacist's testimony to be true, it changes nothing. She also mentioned a part of the sherbet was very salty. Which means you can hardly call his entry for the finals perfect.
Yeah, he did kind of fuck up that one part.
Yeah.
Why are you smug?
What, no more objections?
Is there no way I can prove their collaboration? Mr. Edgeworth, there's something that's been bugging me. What is it? The desserts Mr. Dover made for the finals would have taken a long time to make, right? Well, I mean, yeah. Indeed, they were frozen sculptures after they were frozen sculptures after all. How would he have had time to sculpt it after it was frozen? I mean, in my head, you could very easily make a mold and then, like, put the dessert in that and then freeze it and remove the mold and have it that way. But, I don't know, he is a professional sculptor. Maybe he has tricks up his sleeve that he can sculpt away on the sherbet. It's not like it's ice where you have to chisel it away. It's sherbet. It's relatively soft. A hot knife would cut through it perfectly fine. Let alone help Mr. Gustavi with his designs as well. Well, there's that, too. Wouldn't have had enough time. The way I see it, just waiting for the sherbet to freeze would have used up all his time. Again, did he? I assumed the room was pre-frozen and the sherbet was supplied to him. He just molded it after he got it. It's like, what will you be working with? Sherbet. Okay, we'll supply you with sherbet. Did he really have to home make his own sherbet and wait around for it to freeze for him to sculpt? Because that seems like a lot of effort for this contest. And I get it's greatest pastry chef in the world, but that's just a weird contest. Just how was he able to make those sherbet sculptures? Again, maybe he had pre-made molds. Raymond, you may have a promotion. You may have a promising future after all. Okay, and then he ate the paper. Thanks to you, I've noticed one more possibility. This is a character trait he doesn't really have later on, is it? That's right. Mr. Dover's sherbet needed time to freeze properly. And the contest time limit would not have been enough. The method Mr. Dover used to make his sherbet within time limit was... They weren't desserts. Possibly? Okay. These are always tricky. It was frozen on that day. I don't get what that one's even saying. I'm going to click... I feel like what the game wants me to click is they weren't desserts. They're going to do the whole fake dessert thing again. I'm going to click it was prepared in advance, because that's where I immediately went with this. Wow, is that really it? If the sherbet was prepared in advance, all we need to do is sculpt it. Yeah, I assumed it was.
You, just what are you mumbling about?
Please excuse me. I finally realized. Your earlier view was correct. Huh? Mr. Edgeworth!
What are you doing? Oh? So you finally admitting defeat?
No. All I'm admitting is to the truth of one of your statements. Dover and Gustavia's collaboration lasted only until the day before the finals. It is exactly as you said. They only cooperated until the day before the finals.
I feel as though you're leading me into a trap.
The sculptures in Mr. Dover's room were all made out of sherbet. Yeah? Such an amount would most likely need to be left overnight to freeze. Which means Mr. Gustavia prepared Mr. Dover's sherbet in advance the day before.
That's right. So you realize Gustavia's cooperation ended the day before the finals.
Then why did Mr. Dover not help Mr. Gustavia in return?
The views of the dead are no concern to me.
That's a pretty weak argument. If you aren't going to answer that, I'll need to get in touch with Mr. Gustavia himself. Or was it your interrogation not quite thorough as you claim?
You interrogate. You dare mock me!
That was not my intention, but I do have a problem with your attitude. I want you to give us a clear reason why we can't speak to Mr. Gustavia in person.
A clear reason? Gustavia and Dover's collaboration has no bearing on this case.
Objection!
You claim their collaboration is irrelevant. If Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover's relationship had turned sour, it could serve as a motive for murder.
You're saying that Gustavia and Dover collaboration was linked to the motive for murder. If that were the case, why did he not conceal it? After all, we found out about the collaboration from Gustavia himself.
Not a bad point.
If you really are a lawyer, show us evidence that gives us a reason to suspect Gustavia.
Yeah, I don't think we have that. But what if Mr. Gustavia's actions have been suspicious so far? Doubtless Von Karma already knows of this fact. This could be a trap by Von Karma.
What's wrong, defense attorney? Not going to answer?
But I mustn't back down now. Mr. Gustavia sneaked into Mr. Dover's room. Snuck. His reasons for this are currently unclear. But the fact that he secretly entered the victim's room is reason enough to suspect him.
If that's the extent of it, I can dispel those doubts.
I knew it. Was it a trap after all?
I was intending to save this for the courtroom, but I'll make a special exception. We won't want to prolong the trial with unnecessary information, would we? Take a look at this.
Aw. This is... Parent Care Day? Oh! Okay, it's like a celebration for Parent Care Day. Here, I thought they had somehow screwed up Parent Daycare. But no, it's...
There's a photo of Gustavi and Dover, and their sons.
Cute kids. Although... Why is one of them bald? Like... And have gray hair. It's like, he's really, really thin hair, and it's gray. What the hell's up with that? Family photo. Photo of Gustavia, Dover, and their sons. Gustavia's son always came to visit at the finals. When he said that, I sort of assumed his son was in his 20s or so, checking up on his dad. Not just a little boy.
Gustavia entered Dover's room in order to steal this photo.
To steal this photo?
It seems their sons attended the same elementary school. Apparently, he thought he'd been suspected if people found out he and Dover were acquainted.
Why did Dover have the photo in his room?
Yes, just like you're doing now. There is nothing suspicious about Gustavia's actions. No further room for argument.
He's a declarative sod, isn't he? He's still adamant on not letting us meet with Mr. Gustavia. That is a bit annoying. If it's a pointless lead, why not let us waste our time there?
I have an investigation to return to. I have no more time to waste on the likes of you.
Yes, sir. Curse that von Karma. Calling us a waste of time. What should we do, Mr. Edgeworth? At this rate, Master Jeff will be. Von Karma is busy. Of course. Why would he be so busy? Because he's working. Both the body and the murder weapon have been found, and he already has his suspect. Okay, so he needs proof. The police should have more than enough evidence to prove Mr. Master's guilt. If that's the case, then why is Von Karma still investigating the crime scene? Didn't he have this whole, ideal about perfect, so he's, covering every loose end just in case? I believe that's his shtick. Mr. Edgeworth, is there something wrong? It seems I have been overlooking a matter of vital importance. Considering he already has evidence he needs to convict Mr. Master, I feel that Mr. Von Karma isn't as composed as he should be. He didn't even tell Detective Bad the full results of the investigation.
Yeah. Von Karma's a bit on edge at the moment. He still hasn't received the autopsy report.
No autopsy. Oh, we're doing the logic thing. Have we done that with Gregory yet? I can't remember. Furthermore, something vanished from the crime scene, and we still don't know why. Detective Bad, please look at the crime scene carefully once more. The bloodstain that should have remained there at the crime scene has disappeared here. I don't know how to say that.
I definitely didn't get any reports of the bloodstains being cleaned up.
I mean, Von Karma's not above stealing evidence. But the strangest thing we found wasn't in Mr. Master's room at all.
It's a match. The blood in the fountain is Dover's.
Mr. Dover's blood vanished from Mr. Master's room, and somehow found its way into the fountain. What does this mean? Well, it was on a bar of chocolate, and chocolate's been known to melt, so I think we all see where this is going. I was wondering if we would ever do this. So, a bit in the game before this one, I think it only happened in the last case, but when it seemed as though we were out of answers, Miles would come up with a bunch of logic points, and we'd be sort of forced into a logic area like this. And we just had to piece things together. I didn't particularly care for that, I felt as though there were better, more organic ways to come to these conclusions than just giving us a bunch of logic points and saying, figure it out! But that's just moi, isn't it? Autopsy report has not arrived. Well, it's gonna be this and this. Although the victim's blood wasn't found in Mr. Master's room, it was detected in the water fountain. There would be no need for the killer to conceal the bloodstains after the body was found. It's unnatural that only the bloodstains were found with the body disappeared. Unless the body was moved, the blood would have still remained on the chocolate. Don't tell me. Someone removed the body and then erased the bloodstains. Blood vanished from the scene because the body was removed. What is it, like ketchup? Or some... What's a red dessert thing? Is it like red sherbet or red dye? Gee, I wonder which two. It's possible that the body was removed from the crime scene, and the autopsy report still has not arrived. Although we have a murder weapon as a suspect, we don't know much about the body. I've been investigating under the assumption that the body has been discovered. Perhaps this assumption was wrong from the very beginning. Why didn't Von Karma give Detective Bad the autopsy report? To understand that, yes, I must turn my logic around. My thinking shouldn't be, why is Von Karma hiding information about the body? But rather, what if Von Karma doesn't even have the information to begin with? What happens if I think of it like that? I sure hope no blue-suited lawyer ever steals my mojo. Hopefully I'll be long dead if that ever happens, knock on wood. Again, that probably sounded like crap, but whatever. It's possible the body wasn't removed by the police for autopsy. It was moved and hidden by the real killer. Mr. Edgeworth! I've heard many dark rumors surrounding Von Karma. He's a prosecutor who forges evidence, fabricates testimonies, and makes backroom deals for blowjobs. Don't know, had to go there. Humanizing him a bit, why not? The idea that he has a wife is weird. Like, I accepted that he had a daughter, but that would have meant he had to have had sex, and that's just a bizarre picture in my head, you know? Like, he's such an angry and uptight guy. That's why I think it'd be even funnier if the wife was the one in charge. Yeah, I heard that too, but what does that have to do with this? I try to avoid judging others based on rumors. And I didn't let those rumors influence my opinion on Von Karma, until today. It seems he's a man who would distort the truth. Distort the truth? You don't mean forgery? I do. That's a strong accusation. I mean, you're probably right, but still. And I can't allow him to get away with this. Is he going to forge an autopsy report? Why is he still standing? Oh, whatever. I must return to the prosecutor.
I must return to the prosecutor's office for now. Not a word to that attorney.
Roger. You there, drum and cello. Might be a bass.
What do you want, defense attorney?
I want to know the truth that you've been hiding.
Fool! Are you trying to mislead the police's investigation again? If you interfere with the investigation anymore, I'll be forced to reprimand you myself.
Objection!
How? Your daughter's the one who carries the whip. Please, no. My objection is with you.
What?
If I could do that again rather than like the menacing
What?
it'd be more like, what? Just to catches him completely off guard. Drops the entire tough guy act. It's just, what? Isn't this a prosecutor's job to ensure justice for criminals?
What are you saying? I have no time to debate the job of a prosecutor with you. However, I will tell you one thing. My job is to ensure all those I prosecute are found guilty. Before the perfect proof, there can be no room for doubt.
Objection!
And to find the perfect proof, you won't even stop. You would even stoop to forgery.
Huh. I was wondering what you were going on about. You intend to accuse me of forgery, don't you?
Yes. Alright then. It's not for the reason, and it's for that reason you did not allow Detective Bad to investigate.
What did you need?
The real reason Detective Bad wasn't investigating was not so he could keep an eye on us. It was to hide the fact that you never found the body.
What?
That was more Von Karma. They never found the body!
You cretins! You will cease these ludicrous accusations. I will not tolerate any further insults.
In that case, let us verify the body. If you do, we'll have evidence that shows whether I am right or not. I mean, just having the body would prove. It's not even verifying it, it's just, yeah, here's the body. Well, you're a dumbass. But of course he doesn't have the body.
The burden of proof falls on you, defense attorney.
Does it? I guess it does, since I'm the one making the claim.
I have no reason to comply with your baseless conjecture. Your disingenuous assertions. Objection!
You must have noticed it too, the lack of bloodstain at the crime scene. So why did the blood vanish? And more importantly, where did it go?
Foolishness! Why would anyone erase just the blood in the chest that contained the body?
Yes, that's exactly right. If the body had been found there, the disappearing bloodstains would have had no meaning at all. However, what if the body was already gone? To erase the traces of the body being there, one would have to get rid of the bloodstains as well.
Why make such a fuss over those bloodstains? Seems like a trivial detail to me. Or, are you saying you could show me where those bloodstains went?
In court, everything must be said with evidence. Isn't that right, Von Karma? Can I do Edgeworth imitating Von Karma?
In court, everything must be said with evidence.
Isn't that right, Von Karma?
That's a terrible impersonation of me. I sound nothing like that.
Regardless, in that case, I will show you evidence supporting my claim. Which piece of evidence shows where the blood in Mr. Master's room went? The fountain, yeah? Yeah. Fountain's not an option. Even though I think it was chucked into the water. Maybe it's here? The shit melted, which shows where the blood in Mr. Master's room went. We don't have, like, a picture of the fountain. Victim's blood. Oh. This was found in the fountain water. There, okay, yeah. I would have preferred, like, the fountain itself or a picture of it, but, you know, whatever. Oh, I go a little bit longer and then end the episode. There were traces of the victim's blood found in the fountain. Traces of Mr. Master's chocolate were also found in this very fountain. In other words, the blood was washed down the stream, which then flowed into the fountain. All of this points to only one possibility. After the body was removed, someone erased the bloodstains. Grrr! We'll see how he retorts this in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. I've been Tokenlad. Talk to you later, Shrewd Negotiator. See you around, Ass Clowns.